There's a file. It's not sitting on a desk somewhere. No human being created it. And the most unsettling part, it has your name on it. Let me tell you something you already know, but hate admitting. You're not broke because you're lazy. You're not stuck because you didn't try hard enough. You're being held at a stage you were supposed to pass through already. And if you're honest with yourself, you've felt it. That invisible ceiling. That feeling of doing everything right, but still standing in the same place you were a year ago. Have you ever felt like you've done everything right, but life still won't open up for you? Like you're knocking on a door that won't budge, no matter how hard you push? You wake up, you work hard, you pray, you try to be a good person, and yet the breakthrough everyone else seems to be getting keeps passing you by. That feeling isn't paranoia. It's recognition. You're sensing something that's already there, waiting. A file with your name on it that's been sealed until the right moment. Not everyone hears this message. Not everyone stays long enough to hear what comes next. Most people will scroll past this in the first 30 seconds. They'll feel uncomfortable and move on. But if you're still here right now, I need you to understand something. This isn't random. You weren't supposed to scroll past this. Something in you knew to stop. Something in your spirit recognized that this message is specifically for you, right now, in this season of your life. Before we go further, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. If these words are hitting exactly where you're at right now, if you feel like I'm describing your life, hit that like button. Not for the algorithm, not for me, but as a signal that you're paying attention, as a marker in this moment that says, I'm listening. If you want to keep receiving messages like this at exactly the right time, messages that seem to find you when you need them most, subscribe right now. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to stop watching your life from the sidelines, just comment 3 words, I am here. Now let me tell you what this blessing file really is, because I'm not talking about fairy tales or false hope. When I say blessing file, I'm not talking about some mystical instant miracle where you wake up tomorrow and everything's different. I'm talking about something much more specific and much more real. It's a plan with a timeline, a blessing with an order, a door that only opens when you're strong enough to walk through it. And that last part is critical, because most people don't understand why their breakthrough hasn't happened yet. Here's what most people get wrong, and maybe you've thought this too. They think delay means denial. They think if something hasn't happened yet, it's never going to happen. If the money hasn't come yet, it's not coming. If the relationship hasn't worked out yet, it won't. If the business hasn't taken off yet, it's a failed dream. But that's not how this works. The delay isn't rejection. It's preparation happening in silence. It's your capacity being built in the dark so you can handle what's coming in the light. Your blessing file has always existed. It was written before you even knew you needed it. Before you were born, before you understood what struggle was, before you knew what lack felt like, this file was already prepared. But it's been sealed, not because you weren't worthy, not because God forgot about you, or because the universe doesn't care. It was sealed because you weren't ready yet. And there are 3 specific reasons why files get sealed, and I need you to understand each one. First, your internal foundation wasn't solid enough yet. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper on sand. It might look impressive for a moment, but the first storm will knock it down. Some blessings are so big, so life-changing, that if they arrived before you were ready, they would destroy you instead of elevate you. Think about lottery winners who lose everything within a few years, publishers who give massive book deals to people who aren't ready for fame and they crumble under the pressure, people who get into relationships they prayed for only to ruin them because their character wasn't developed enough to maintain them. God doesn't withhold blessings to punish you. He delays them to protect you from getting something you can't handle yet, because a blessing you're not ready for becomes a burden that breaks you. Second, the timing wasn't aligned. There are blessings that are season-specific. They only work when certain conditions are met, when certain people are in position, when certain doors are ready to open simultaneously. You can have the right key, but be standing at the wrong door at the wrong time. The blessing file knows the difference. It waits, it watches. And when every piece is in place, when the people you need to meet are exactly where they need to be, when the opportunities are ripe and the moment is right, that's when the seal breaks. Not a moment sooner. Third, and this is the hardest one to accept, you needed to go through a season of loss to mature. Some of what you've lost in the last year, maybe the last 2 years, wasn't taken from you as punishment. It was removed to make space. Old relationships that kept you small, that made you doubt yourself, that drained your energy without giving anything back. Old habits that kept you stuck in cycles you couldn't break. Old versions of yourself that couldn't carry what's coming next. The person you were a year ago couldn't handle what's in your file, but the person you're becoming can. There are blessings that, if they came too soon, would ruin you. A windfall of money when you haven't learned discipline yet? It disappears faster than it arrived. A platform when your character hasn't been tested? It becomes your destruction, not your destiny. A relationship when you haven't healed? It becomes another wound, not the partnership you need. The seal on your file isn't rejection, it's protection. Until now. Because if you're hearing this message, something is shifting. And there are 3 unmistakable signs that your file is being activated right now. Let me tell you what they are, and I want you to pay close attention, because if even one of these describes where you are, you need to understand what's happening. The first sign is this. You're exhausted with the old and desperate for the new. You can't do this anymore. Not the job that pays the bills, but kills your soul. Not the routine that feels like Groundhog Day, waking up to the same problems, the same limitations, the same version of life that used to feel acceptable, but now feels like a prison. Something has shifted inside you, and you can't put it back. You're not depressed. You're not ungrateful. You're outgrowing a season that doesn't fit anymore. The small wins don't satisfy you like they used to. The paycheck that felt like enough last year feels like a cage this year. You look at it and think, this is it? This is all I have to show for how hard I've been working? The relationships that felt comfortable now feel draining. The conversations are surface level. The energy is off. You're not being negative. You're being honest. And honesty is the first step toward breakthrough. Here's what's really happening, and I need you to hear this. You're not tired of life. You're tired of the old version of yourself. That version served its purpose. It got you through seasons you weren't sure you'd survive. It taught you lessons you needed to learn. But it can't take you where you're going next. And deep down, in a place you don't talk about out loud, you know it. You know you're being called to something bigger, something you can't even fully see yet, but you feel it pulling at you every single day. This exhaustion isn't burnout. It's awakening. You're feeling the friction between who you've been and who you're becoming. That discomfort you feel? That restlessness that won't go away, no matter how much you try to distract yourself? That's the seal on your file starting to crack. When you can no longer tolerate where you are, you're being prepared for where you're going. You don't hate your life. You hate staying in a chapter you've already learned everything from. And that restlessness? That's divine dissatisfaction. It's your spirit telling you the file is activating. The second sign, and this one hits different because nobody wants to talk about it out loud, is this. Financial pressure is getting specific and undeniable. Let's be real for a moment. Let's talk about what nobody wants to admit in public, but everyone thinks about in private. The bank notifications that make your stomach drop. The missed calls from numbers, are about bills. The mental math you do in your head before you spend $5 because you're not sure if that $5 is going to be the difference between making it and not making it this month. The way you think about money before you fall asleep. The way it's the first thing on your mind when you wake up. The way you've started avoiding certain friends because you can't afford to go out anymore and you're tired of making excuses. The way you see everyone else posting about trips and new cars and success, and you're over here wondering how they did it while you're still trying to figure out how to get ahead. There are nights you don't lose sleep over a dream. You lose sleep over a number, over wondering how you're going to make it stretch, over the anxiety of knowing that one unexpected expense, one car problem, one medical bill, could completely derail everything you've been trying to build. Over realizing that working hard isn't enough anymore. Something has to shift. Something has to change. Because you can't keep living like this. Here's what you need to understand, and this is going to change how you see your current situation. Financial pressure isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's measurement. God doesn't let pressure build randomly. He's not sitting in heaven watching you struggle for entertainment. He allows pressure to intensify right before he expands your capacity. Think about it like this. You don't test a container's strength when it's empty. You test it when you're about to fill it. You apply pressure to see if it can handle what you're about to pour into it. The pressure you're feeling right now isn't proof you're failing. It's proof you're about to contain something much larger than you've ever held before. Every leader, every breakthrough story, every person who went from barely surviving to thriving, every person whose testimony you admire, has a chapter that looked exactly like yours. Financial pressure. Right before financial breakthrough isn't random. It's a pattern. It's the testing that comes right before the testimony. But here's the catch, and you need to hear this. The pressure is also revealing something. It's showing you where you've been settling, where you've been tolerating less than you deserve, where you've been playing it safe because comfort felt easier than risk, even though that comfort was slowly suffocating you. The file is opening, but you're going to have to step differently to receive what's inside it. You're going to have to make different decisions, take different actions, move with a different level of boldness than you've moved with before. If money is all you think about right now, if financial stress is dominating your mental space, your file is getting ready to address exactly that. The problem isn't coming to bury you, it's coming to position you for the solution, and that solution is closer than you think. The third sign is this. The same message keeps repeating, and it's not random. You keep hearing about timing, about turning points, about being chosen for something. Maybe it's a sermon you didn't plan to watch, but it showed up in your feed. A conversation with a friend that hit differently than normal conversations. A video that appeared at exactly the right moment. This one, maybe. You keep seeing the same numbers, the same themes, the same words keep showing up in different places, and you're starting to realize it's not coincidence anymore. When God wants you to hear something, He doesn't whisper it once and walk away. He repeats it, over and over, through different voices, different moments, different signs. He'll send the message through a song, then through a stranger, then through a book, then through a video like this, until you finally stop and say, okay, I'm listening. I'm paying attention now. The question isn't, is God speaking? He is. He's been speaking. The question is, are you ready to respond? Because hearing a message is easy. Nodding along is easy. Feeling inspired for 5 minutes is easy. Acting on it is where most people stop. Most people hear the message, feel the conviction, sense the shift, and then go right back to business as usual. And that's why their file stays sealed. If the same themes keep showing up in your life, breakthrough, timing, new season, activated destiny, open doors, divine alignment, it's not a coincidence. You're being prepared for something specific. The repetition isn't for God's benefit, it's for yours. He's making sure you don't miss it. He's making sure that when the moment comes, you recognize it, and you move. And if you're hearing this message right now, in this exact moment, after everything you've been through, after all the false starts and disappointments and setbacks, It's because your file is no longer sealed. The activation sequence has started. The countdown has begun. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Now I need to say something, and it's not easy to hear, but you need to hear it. Not everyone is brave enough to receive their file, because here's the truth. Nobody talks about when they're preaching about blessings. Blessings don't come empty-handed. They come with bigger responsibility, harder decisions, tougher standards, increased visibility, greater expectations. When your file opens, it doesn't just open doors to money and opportunity. It opens expectations. It opens requirements. It opens standards you didn't have to meet before. You're going to have to let go of relationships that kept you comfortable. People who love the old version of you, but feel threatened by the new one. You're going to have to make choices that make other people uncomfortable, and they're going to question you, judge you, talk about you. You're going to have to step into rooms where you're the least experienced person there, and you're going to have to do it with confidence anyway. And you're going to have to do all of this while people who knew the old, you question why you're changing, why you're different, why you're not the same person you used to be. The blessing file doesn't just unlock money. It unlocks the person you have to become to steward it. And becoming that person isn't glamorous. It's lonely sometimes. It's misunderstood often. It requires you to outgrow people who refuse to grow with you, to outpace people who want you to stay at their level, to step into a version of yourself that makes other people uncomfortable because it reminds them of what they're not willing to become. So before you ask God to open your file, before you pray for breakthrough, before you declare this is your season, ask yourself, am I ready for what comes with it? Am I ready for the responsibility, the pressure, the change, the loneliness of leadership, the weight of stewardship? Because access isn't the hardest part. It's what you do after you get access that determines whether you keep it or lose it. Your file is ready. The seal is cracking. The door is unlocking. But are you ready? Are you really ready? If you've made it this far, and something in you is saying yes, I want you to do something with me right now. Stop scrolling. Stop multitasking. Put your phone down for just a moment if you can. Take a deep breath. Open your hands, palms up, like you're ready to receive something. Not just information, not just inspiration, but activation. This isn't religion. This is alignment. This is you telling the universe, telling God, telling whatever force you believe orchestrates your life, I'm ready now. I'm done waiting. I'm done making excuses. I'm done playing small. I'm ready to step into what's been prepared for me. Here's the prayer. Say it out loud if you can. If you can't, say it in your heart. But say it with intention. Say it like you mean it. Because empty words produce empty results, but declarations made with faith shift atmospheres. God, I acknowledge that there's a plan I haven't seen yet. A file with my name on it that I didn't write, but that you prepared before I was born. I acknowledge that I've been held back, not as punishment, but as preparation. I acknowledge that delay wasn't denial. It was protection. And I'm grateful for that protection, even though it was painful. Today, right now, in this moment, I declare that I am ready. I'm ready for what you've been preparing me for. I'm ready for the responsibility, the pressure, the change. I'm ready to let go of the old to receive the new. I'm ready to outgrow the version of myself that couldn't handle this. I'm ready to step into rooms I've never been in and become someone I've never been. If there is a blessing file with my name on it, I'm not running from it anymore. I'm not hiding behind excuses or fear or doubt or feelings of unworthiness. I receive it by faith. I receive the provision. I receive the open doors. I receive the divine connections. I receive the wisdom to steward what's coming. I receive the strength to carry what you're about to place in my hands. I declare that this is my season. This is my moment. This is my time. Not because I'm perfect, not because I deserve it, but because you've prepared it, and I'm finally ready to walk in it. I'm stepping into it fully, boldly, without apology. The seal is broken. The file is open. I am ready to walk in everything you've prepared for me. Take another breath. Hold it for a second. Release it. If that prayer resonated in your spirit, if you felt something shift in the atmosphere around you, you just activated something. You didn't just say words, you made a declaration. And declarations have power when they come from a place of faith and readiness. Something just changed. Pay attention to what happens next. Now here's what I need you to do, and this isn't about a video or a channel or engagement. This is about cementing a decision. If you just received that prayer, if you just declared your readiness, I need you to leave a comment right now that says, I am ready to receive my blessing file. Not for me, for you. Because when you type that out, when you put it in writing, when you make it public, you're making a declaration that goes beyond just thinking it. You're telling yourself, the universe, and everyone watching, I'm not playing small anymore. I'm done being invisible. I'm stepping into what's mine. And here's why this matters more than you might realize. The file opened today, but it doesn't stay open forever if you don't walk through it. This isn't a scare tactic. This is spiritual reality. Opportunity has an expiration date. Doors don't stay open indefinitely just because you notice them. They open at specific moments, and if you don't move when the moment is right, they close, and you have to wait for the next cycle. Think about how many times you've felt this before. How many times you've sensed something shifting, felt inspired, declared that things were going to change, and then did nothing. And the door closed. And you spent the next year wondering why nothing changed, when the truth is, the door opened and you didn't walk through it. Don't leave this video and go back to business as usual. Don't watch this. Feel inspired for 5 minutes, and then forget by tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off and you're back in the same routine. The activation happened here. What you do in the next 24 hours, the next 72 hours, the next week, determines whether you actually step into this or whether you just become another person who almost did. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because messages like this don't come every day. And when your next moment arrives, when the next door starts to crack open, you'll need to be in position to hear it. You'll need to be connected to voices that remind you who you're becoming, not who you used to be. The file has been activated. The seal is broken. The door is open. What happens next depends entirely on how you move forward from this moment. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Now. Today. With the faith you have right now, not the faith you wish you had. Your breakthrough isn't coming. That's what I need you to understand. It's not coming. It's already here. It's been here. It's been waiting for you to be ready to receive it. And if you're still listening, if you made it to the end of this message, you're ready. Maybe you don't feel ready. Maybe you still have doubts. But ready isn't a feeling. It's a decision. The only question left is, are you going to step into it? Are you going to walk through that door? Or are you going to let another season pass you by? The file has your name on it. It's always had your name on it. And it's open right now. What are you going to do about it?